Delta Force is a reboot of the classic tactical shooter series originally developed by Novalogic, now revived by TIMI Studio Group. The game offers a modern take on the large-scale military combat experience, blending tactical gameplay with the thrill of a first-person shooter. Players step into the boots of elite operatives within the Delta Force unit, tasked with executing high-stakes missions across various global hotspots. The game emphasizes realism and strategy. It requires players to carefully plan their approach, utilize team coordination, and adapt to dynamic battle conditions. And before I get into the review, I think perspective is a huge part of this one. So I'm going to give a bit of it before I go into the review itself. I think you guys deserve to know what type of player is reviewing the game so you can adjust accordingly. Now, I play Rust. I play a lot of Rust. But that doesn't mean that I haven't played Escape from Tarkov, Counter-Strike, Rainbow Six Siege, every single Call of Duty since I was 13. And although I may not have as many hours in these games as I do Rust, I think it's important to give context and understand who this review is coming from. It's not coming from a diehard Tarkov player or a COD boy. It's coming from someone who grew up playing Halo 3 System Link and now really enjoys the survival RPG and extraction shooter genres. In this review, we're going to dive into the things that I find most important in an extraction shooter. The game itself is broken down into 3 parts. There is Tactical Turmoil, which is the extraction shooter portion. Havoc Warfare, which is a battlefield style, big map, lots of boom boom, airplane fly, vroom vroom. And I didn't even click the campaign. This review is going to be centered around the general mechanics and gameplay itself as it pertains to Tactical Turmoil, which is the extraction shooter portion of the game, which I personally consider the most replayable. Okay, last thing. This game is an alpha, folks. Oh, that was so loud. Why is it always so loud? It's not done. There are other people here? Is this whole thing got it to myself? Oh my god, this goes so hard. What? I'm not full on reviewing it as a finished product. I'm simply pointing out things that I like, things that I didn't, and attempting to help you determine if you have these same values. Phew, that's over. Let's get to the fun stuff.
Let's start with the
Gameplay mechanics. Everything's so loud. I guess we just start at the top, eh? I feel quite immersed already. Very tactical. Fight, search, extract. I wasn't sure if this was the extraction button, but I think it might be. Want some ceramic? That says a G, does it not? There. Alright, let's talk about the core loop. There are multiple points to extract to on the maps, and they're big, but not too big, just pretty big. There's a real world that you don't even go on one half of the map, and you still extract with a bag full of goodies, and I like that. The loot itself is very akin to Tarkov in a sense that most of what you're grabbing is either going to be used to upgrade something later, or just to sell so you can upgrade your gear. The risk versus reward system is playing out perfectly at the moment. If you want higher tier loot, you're going to have to go to the areas with more AI, tougher AI, and a significantly higher chance of finding other player teams. The movement feels good, specifically the sound. In each of these games that come out in the extraction shooter space, it seems to get a little bit better and better every time, which completely makes sense because sound is probably the most important thing in the game. The vaulting system is a little bit funky. The core running, jumping, leaning, crawling all feels very good, with some of the operator abilities enhancing those with movement speed and stamina. It feels like a really good blend of the best parts of a lot of games. Things are moving fast when you want them to move fast, and they're slow and tactical when you want them to be that. You want to be able to get into the action if you want to, and speeding and timing, they matter a lot. The combat is where I think opinions are going to differ quite a bit. I personally love it. The sounds that the guns make are very exaggerated in a cool way. Give me the gun then, you bitch. Oh, I'm getting shot by a player. Over there. Yep. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. The time to kill is very short. You could go in with some really bad gear and make out like a bandit if you can pull it off. It does a good job of giving players a substantial advantage for overspending on great gear, but doesn't make them unkillable by any means. Overall, it feels like a good balance focused around the individual's combat ability. I love the ability to be revived after you've been down for an extended period of time, but with debuffs, there's nothing worse than gearing up for 10 minutes and dying in about 2 flat. I will say the amount of injuries you sustain during just Even brief combat seems a little extensive right now. Although logically, I completely understand if an RPG hits near you. I get it. You have abdomen pain, you have head pain, both of your legs are bleeding, but there's a world where that takes over 60 seconds just to heal off those debuffs, and it just feels a little long for this fast-paced of a game. But it's closed alpha, these types of things are subject to change. Map design. They really put some hard bumpers up as far as where you can go on the map. Some stuff looks like you can vault it, but you can't, and it doesn't feel incredibly intuitive. They really pigeonhole you in areas they want you to be in, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I do understand. As far as aesthetics go, the game is beautiful, nothing feels intensely out of place, and I'm able to get really good frames on a really average build computer. Rise up, my potato brothers. AI behavior. The AI behavior could use some work for sure. It feels like sometimes they spot you from a mile away, other times you can literally sneak up on them and they don't even notice. For missions, it seems like they spawn together and just run into wherever you are, which doesn't pose much of a threat or a challenge. I'd like to see some change here. The loot system is a good mix of gear, and it makes it clearly known what's valuable and what isn't based on the fact that you can see a suggested price for any item in game simply by hovering over it. Also, there is the standard color coordination for rarity. The progression feels good. You're slowly upgrading your base at home each map, which is a cool additional feature to add along with your gear. One of the most promising things in the game and in the economy itself is the auction house, which is already being used exactly how you would imagine it. Some things like a stash upgrade items are going for 10x their suggested price due to high demand. And some of the standard guns that everyone's getting and selling are selling for 10x less than their suggested price due to the quantity in stock. The auction system itself is really cool. I can't wait to see how they balance it and tweak it further. Player interaction. I can't tell if I love or hate the fact that it's a 3v3 extraction shooter. I assume that they will have solo modes, of course, and when I have two teammates that I'm partied with and that I know, it feels like an insane advantage over other teams. 80% of the time when I queue solo, I'm met with two people without mics who run in different directions, have no intention of playing with you, and extract on their own 20 minutes before you even leave. And thank goodness there's no team damage. I understand a percentage of that is just people being new and learning the maps and the game itself, but I think it's something to watch coming into beta. There is a ranked mode, even now, in the playtest, which is very cool, and it seems to reward you on survival more than anything else, but I'm curious to see the actual write-up on how rank points are going to be distributed as it stands. Now I get nothing if I don't extract or I die, and everything when I get out. PvP is very subtle. You have to listen for gunshots that don't sound like AI, and they blend seamlessly into the world. Sometimes you don't even realize that you've killed a player or been killed by a player until you see Scrotum Chaser 69 has shot you 3 times in the glute. Customization is on the Tarkov side, meaning it's extensive and exhausting in my opinion. Gun nuts will love that you can change every part of the weapon, and there's definitely parts of it that I do enjoy as well. But on some guns, there's literally 15 customizable parts, and for me, that's too much. I'm in over my head. Controls are pretty standard. There's definitely a lack of customization, which apparently is being worked out in the alpha, but I'd love to see the ability to change, the keybinds for meds and things like that. Overall, there's a lot to this game. So much that it could have easily been a 30-minute video or longer. There's a lot to explore here, and in a good way. It feels like a good balance of Call of Duty, Rainbow Six Siege, and your classic extraction shooter. It looks great, it's fun to play with friends, and I'm honestly pretty gosh darn excited for its continued development and its release. My level of excitement on this game is an easy 4 out of 5 pet rocks. As it stands now, you can only get in through a Twitch drop or receiving an alpha invite via email, so go watch a stream, get your keys, and I'll see you in there. Peace.